the students learn is a leadership skill. One step under the leadership skill, if you want to say, the influencing skill.
Such youth parliaments and model United Nations are essential for the youth.
Again, the byproduct of it is going through public speaking, going through being able to talk to someone confidently.
Deliver a speech in front of 10,000 people the very next day.
Next 20 years, we need very bright leaders.
Hello everybody, my name is Vyas Krishnan and I am the founder and CEO of mentorsphere. Today we are starting off our interview series with an esteemed business leader from Veranda IAS. And we would like to present a very warm welcome to all of our viewers to the Voices of Tomorrow, Building Better Leaders for Tomorrow. Today I have here with me Dr. Vigneshwar Kumar, who is an IIM graduate and he is the current business head of Veranda IAS. Veranda IAS is the South India's most premier institute for UPSC coaching, and they've just entered the high school market with their new showcase product called Veranda IAS Junior, and they are aiming to develop and foster leadership skills and communication skills among our high school students. So welcome sir, thank you for being here and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today.
My pleasure, yes. Yeah.
So let's start off with our interview for today, and the very first question that I have for you today is something very critical, because this kind of presents the entire ideology and your viewpoint on speeches and debates overall. So, you've just recently entered the high school market with Veranda IAS Junior. So, could you share your vision behind launching such a product like Veranda IAS Junior? And specifically, since we're targeting high school students, what is your vision behind fostering such leadership skills among our youth in high schools?
Okay. The primary motive of starting Junior IAS is on one side, predominant side is building leadership skills, but on the other side is also to position government jobs as an aspirational thing. It is already aspirational. So if you see 10 years back, if you go to a school student and ask, what do you want to become? I'm talking about 10-15 years. Now there are a lot of career opportunities that are there, but 10-15 years back, that the student would say that I want to become an engineer, a doctor, or in few places teacher, and then their immediate answer would be, I want to become a district collector. So this particular becoming an IAS officer has been an aspirational thing for students for quite some long time.
Okay.
But now there are alternative domains that have come into picture and students are aspiring to do that. But still this engineer, doctor, we still talk about JEE, we still talk about NEET. But there is to some extent that people have stopped talking about this aspiration getting practiced from the school level itself. So we want to keep this aspirational alive, and also this exam, UPSC exam, or for that government matter, government preparation industry requires a lot of few basic skills that come only from the school. They do not have very fancy skills that can be acquired only after college kind of things. So we wanted to reiterate these opportunities are there for you in the market, especially when it comes to government jobs, and we're still a developing country. And I believe for next 20 years, we need very bright leaders, we need very bright civil servants in the system. You go to US, you go to other countries, they're all emerged as a developed country and their system takes care of things all in its own. But in India, it is not the case. So we are still developing, and we are still competing to be a developed country, and we have a lot of diversities and grassroots level issues which require strong leaders to sit in their civil service seats. So at least for next 20 years we need bright minds coming into this. But this has always been a case where they complete their school, they complete their college, and then they put their 2-3 years of effort and then do it. So we wanted to take this inside the schools and provide them awareness that you can still pursue civil services as a career by starting in the school. And we in Veranda IAS believe in two things, very important two things. Academic knowledge is required, there's no doubt about it, but you require a very strong soft skills for your career. Be it civil service, be it any private sector, or you want to become an entrepreneur, whatever you want, soft skills is basics. And you catch them young in the school, you train them in the school for these skills, because skills needs to be taken into you on a very slow capsules. It's not something that you teach them for 10 days and then you become a leader. That's not how it works. So we put efforts in small capsules from the school in building this leadership skills through a lot of activities which we are going to discuss. But along with that, we slowly build what is required for being a good leader not only in public sector, the civil servants, that is the need of the hour, but also in private sector and also in entrepreneurship.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, because that does really bring a better picture for everybody and obviously for our audience today. Because it something that we often overlook is the dominance of public sector jobs and how you need to develop multiple skills along the way in order to be able to get there. Because everybody thinks that maybe if I go to a private sector job, I can just train and focus on my academics, or if I want to go to a public sector job, I can just train on academics solely and I can make it there. But you've just given us more insight into how that might not be possible. So, elaborating on that point of yours, so how do you think the skills acquired through Veranda IAS junior programs, just like the soft skills and leadership skills that you mentioned, how do they prepare the student better for such private sector and public sector jobs, as well as how does this differ from the traditional educational approaches?
Okay. See, do you drive?
No, of course not.
Okay.
I'm 17.
So, at least two-wheeler you drive? That's
Yeah,
also
I've
not,
tried
but for a
once.
very small,
Yes, I
at least you must have started practicing to drive. So,
Yeah.
see how a skill can be acquired. One best example that I can say is the driving skill, or probably you should be in some sports,
Yeah.
right? So, both these I'm going to draw some parallels about what are the levels that a student can acquire a skill,
Okay.
and how our program is focusing in these areas to build the skill that we want among the students, be it any skill. It could be leadership skill, it could be some public speaking skill, whatever it is. See, the first method or the first level of acquiring skill, we call it as knowledge acquiring part, the know-how of it.
Okay.
So if you are learning to drive, the very first thing that you should know is what is accelerator, what is brake, what is clutch. If you're learning some cricket or any, if you're trying to be a sportsman, you want to learn cricket, you want to learn badminton or swimming, the very first thing that you do is know-how of it. You will first understand what are the rules of the game, how it can be played, what are the roles in the game, so what suits you better. So the know-how of it.
Yeah.
That I would say is the knowledge component that we give.
Okay.
So we tell about what is the skill that you are expected to have. So that's the first level. So you know how what is required. Then the next level is putting them into a conscious system of practice. So you put that learning into an action. So what you do, you learn with the help of a coach if it's a cricket, or you learn with someone who helps you to drive a car.
A mentor.
Yeah, a mentor kind. So like what your mentorsphere as a team is also doing. So you need that second level where you need a mentor or a coach to support you to put that learning into action. That's level 2. We call it conscious practice. The third level that is very, very important is fine-tuning your conscious practice. So when you do a conscious practice, there is some mistakes that are unique to you. You will do that mistake, but probably someone else will not do that mistake. Probably you will do because your nature of doing is that, and that needs a tweaking. Again, a mentor's interference in identifying personally what is the thing that you do and what is a mistake you do, and you fine tune it. Once you do this 3 levels on a continuous basis on any skill, then the 4th level is an automatic byproduct of this particular practice, which I call attitude. Have you seen cricket players practicing with their hands alone? That particular thing is the attitude. In whatever you see, however you see, that comes in attitude. For people who drive in car, they'll listen to music, they'll talk, they'll come to a stage where they can do multiple activities at the same time because they've reached that attitude level. So to learn any skill, you will have to go through these 4 levels.
Yes.
So this is the basic of any skill that you will have to take, and that's how this particular junior IAS program, and with respect to leadership skills and soft skill, is as well built.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So following up on that, an interesting point that I was able to see was that you mentioned a mentor and a coach. Do you think there is a difference, and if so, what do you think might be the difference?
See, coach is whatever is the 4 levels I said. Coach comes in picture in the 2nd level, mentor comes in the picture in the 3rd level. So who's a coach? A coach is someone who can train you on a system, who can give you day 1 you will have to do this, day 2 you will have to do this, bring a discipline in it, and the traditional method of learning, a common method of learning. I can do this coaching for 10 people together, but I can never mentor 10 people together.
Correct, because you need to personalize it.
Personalize it. So that's how the 3rd level comes, that I said, where a mentor is required to identify your unique competencies and what is the expectation from you in that particular skill. Where is that you making that mistake, small mistakes, correct it consciously and fine tune your practice. That's when the mentor comes in. So coach is someone who follows a traditional system and the process and trains a set of people, bringing the knowledge into action. A mentor is someone, once that action is brought in, what is that you personally do a difference and we support it. So that's the basic difference.
Thank you for that, because I think that's something that people often confuse a lot of
Definitely.
times.
Because in our system, in our learning system, mostly the coaches and mentors are same.
Yeah. Exactly.
Even from the school, even from any sports that you learn, coaches and mentors are being same.
Yeah.
But if you see in learning perspective, more a traditional, more in system perspective, there are two different activities that the same person is doing in our system.
Exactly. That's a perfect answer to why there is such a big distinction in between mentors and coaches. I think that's a excellent point. I think that's definitely brought up a lot of clarification for our viewers, and for me too, because more often than not, even when I introduce my company to people, when they ask me why mentorsphere, it takes me a while to explain to them. But I think you've just given us a perfect snapshot, so thank you for that. Now, the next question I would like to move on is to pivot a little bit from our initial discussion and move into the core components of the Veranda IAS Junior program by itself, which is where I've understood that you have a youth parliament program embedded in your program for your high school students at the end of your program. And it's obviously very similar to Model United Nations. And we've seen a lot of teenagers, a lot of high school students, and even 8th graders and 7th graders participating in these youth parliaments at the national level. We've of course seen so many videos where the person has come up and he's given an excellent speech on the coaching industry over here in India. So, keeping all of that in mind, do you think such youth parliaments and Model United Nations are essential for the youth? Because it's obvious that you've incorporated this into the Veranda IAS Junior program, so there must be a reasoning behind it. So may I know what's that reason?
Okay, so whatever youth parliament, whatever is the MUN that you're talking about, is the final output of the learning. So I can sit in a classroom and I can have a whiteboard and teach something, or I can sit with the student, have their note and teach something, or I can send him a video of something and make him learn something. So to teach someone something, there are a lot of ways to do. Same way, to put what you learned into practice, there is again a lot of ways to do it. Same, we'll take the driving example. You go to a driving school, the way that they teach, there will be a whole set of brake and clutch with the co-passenger seat as well. Now that's the method that they learn. But if you're learning from your parent, if you're learning from your father or dad, you'll not have that, but still you will try to learn. Fine. The school, the driving school takes you on the main roads to practice. But when your father does, he normally prefers you taking to a ground to avoid risk. So, but both are same. Both learning is same. So, what we want to make the students learn is a leadership skill. One step under the leadership skill, if you want to say, the influencing skill. That is predominantly the basic skill I feel is required for anyone who wants to have a career in civil service, in private sector, as an entrepreneur as well. So influencing skill, again, the byproduct of it is going through public speaking, going through being able to talk to someone confidently. So all these nested skills are there. These are all taught in class. These are all practiced in class. But how can you put it into action in a way that the students would enjoy? At the same time, they also take the learning out of it. MUN and Youth Parliament also has a very decent backup of academics that the junior IAS covers. Talking about how a parliamentary session is, talking about how the Indian polity works. So again, Indian polity into action. So building this influencing skill, building the public speaking skill, building the communication and the confidence with the students, I think both MUN and Youth Parliament stays in very important for these students in putting in action what they have learned inside just in the classroom.
That's perfect, because I think many times when schools, they offer extracurricular programs, there is often not an end result where the students are able to take away.
I would correct there. It is whatever we do, or I think whatever even the school is currently doing, extracurricular activities are there, but activities like this should be started calling co-scholastic or co-curricular activities. Is because we believe that what you learn inside the classroom is only taken into an activity.
It's actually amazing, sir, because I don't think anybody's ever thought of it that way. Because when we even think of slightly deviating from your regular academic sessions in class, we always call it extracurricular
But that's
activities.
actually contributing to the academics is
Academics,
what the
exactly.
schools miss to see.
Yeah. So I think that's an important distinction that we must understand yet again, because it's not just things that they learn extra and they come and they just don't think about it ever again. It's something that's integrated into their academics, which can help them perform better even
Exactly.
and attain their goals and long-term goals. So I think that's a perfect distinction that not a lot of us were aware about. So obviously you interacted with multiple high school students. You also, from our previous conversations, I've learned that you've been to a couple of Model United Nations during your time at IIM Trichy. So what tangible improvements or what tangible outcomes have you seen from students who have participated in such youth parliaments or Model UN or some kind of a public speaking activity? And how do you think that correlates to the larger picture of what we're trying to do here with Veranda IAS Junior?
Okay, I'll just give you a small thing that I think everyone in their life would do. But this is, of course, I've seen in many schools. You want to go and meet a principal and you want to talk to them something. Outside the principal's room, the student will be standing for a minute, just trying to memorize or what to talk, how to talk, and do it 2-3 times, and then go inside and talk. Why do you think people do that? Is because there's a lot of things that are there which I think the student misses when he does that. First is a confidence skill. Then how promptly I'm able to convey my thought into words to the person.
Yeah.
And will there be a miscommunication? Because I talk with
On a high pressure scenario.
see, it is not only words put together but also intentions put together. So there is a lot of this fear factor that comes in with the students. Now these activities, when they participate, say they take a training for a day or two, they understand how they need to do this whole thing, public speaking thing, or the United Nations, Model United Nations, or the Youth Parliament, and then they practice and they put it into action. Immediately when they do this whole process for 2-3 days, what happens is their confidence goes constantly from, instantly from 2-3 mark out of 10 to directly 8-9-10.
Okay.
First,
That's
that is
exponential
achieved.
increase.
That's a very exponential. Just 3 days this can happen. Now the next is putting your thoughts into words and words into the intentions of what you want to communicate. Now this is also drastically changed. People always talk about in communication skill as one way. Even when the example that you said, public speaking, it is always one way. You speak in one way, you influence them. But in MUN or in any sort of real world communication, it is always spontaneous. I want you to think in such a way that I speak and then you reflect back or communicate back, and then the whole conversation gets layered out. But this layering can be learned only through these activities, is because there is a debate. Only in debate this actual communication is put into practice.
Okay.
So the debate model is what MUN is, the debate model is what Youth Parliament is.
Yeah.
So by just one activity, you boost the confidence level of the students, you build the layered communication skill of the students, you build instantly the conversion of your thought into words, into intentions, and you learn a lot by proactive communication. You especially in MUN and Youth Parliament, there is a lot of scope where the students learn proactive communication. So I have a goal to achieve in this conversation, and when the conversation happens, if it goes away from that goal, and how I can get it back to that. It's a very spontaneous skill that a student should have. Forget about student, even in any private, even in my office, I expect that skill with everyone. That's the basic skill. No one in my office is still talking about what did I learn in social, what did I learn in science, but rather these soft skills is only putting them in the up in the ladder.
Exactly.
So I normally tell to any young student, any young fresher who joins in my team is that when you join the team, when you want to stay in the lowest of the cadre in a company, or in, for that matter, anywhere in a private sector, in a government sector, your hard skill is expected to be more and your soft skill is expected to be less.
Yeah.
As you grow the ladder, this changes drastically. You want more of soft skill, people management skill, communication skills than the hard skill. Because hard skill can be corrected with the process.
Okay.
Soft skill cannot be corrected with the process, is because it keeps changing. So this Youth Parliament, this MUN builds in this soft skill, this communication skill, this layered proactive skills with the students very effectively in a very drastical way, which in just 2-3 days, this could be brought into the picture. Yeah.
Exactly. So one thing that I want to highlight here for everybody watching this interview today is that an excellent point that you mentioned, sir, is that a lot of these students, when they're able to look at a perfect speech that's been written, they're able to speak about it. Exactly like when you position it as, or you worded it as public speaking activities. They just write a speech, they just read it off with no nuances. But I just interviewed around 92 students just last week because as a part of a student profiling session to understand them better. And one thing that every single student told me was that they always struggle with impromptu speeches or being able to build up on the spot.
Exactly.
Which I think, like your point, Rav, is an excellent skill that's always required no matter where you go. Because if you're stuck in a boardroom meeting or if you're stuck in a meeting and someone asks you something about your presentation or about something that you're presenting, you need to be able to develop an answer on the spot, and that does not come instantaneously or it doesn't appear magically.
Exactly.
You need to develop these skills. So I agree with you there for sure. Now I would like to yet again continue this conversation into another stream, which is where something that I've talked to many school principals and so have you, and as well as parents and high school parents, and a big worry of theirs is will my child deviate completely from academics because they're doing such Model United Nations or youth parliaments or participating in such activities like Veranda IAS Junior by itself? And that's a very big worry. So do you think that worry is justified, or do you think that there is a better answer to it which will help them?
This worry itself, I think it's a very baseless thing. Firstly, it is not extracurricular, it is co-curricular. So you're not deviating from what you're doing. That's the first point. Second point is that I think even the parents would agree. If your student, if your ward or if your child is more confident when you go out and speak in a public place. I've seen a 4th standard student with his parent coming to a bank and communicating confidently to the bank manager to help their parent in getting a problem solved with respect to the bank. When I saw that, I understood that I think that's more the skill that is required. See, the schools are not just machines to memorize the subjects. It is a place where you groom your value system, you groom your skills, you groom your confidence. Even though I have gone to 2 different colleges in my UG and PG, I still carry the value and the confidence that I learned in school because of these activities. I was part of MUN, I was part of youth parliament. All this only came handy in my life when the real real work started, the real way that I will have to position yourself. They'll not know now immediately, but I think parents can see it immediately. Maybe schools may not see, the parents will definitely see it immediately. The moment these programs are over, their confidence level boosts up. So I don't think that the parents should start thinking differently, because I think academics is something that they can pull it off.
Okay.
If a student is able to sit for 2 days and clear exams, is what I see nowadays. If they are able to do it, then I think that's sorted. Stop thinking about it more. Let's start focusing on the skills that is required, which is going to be the differentiator out of it. 10th marks are for your 12th marks are for college, but college marks are until you get your job. But you stay in your job forever. To stay in job forever, these skills are required, and these cannot be built within a day. It should come as an attitude, as I said.
Yeah.
He should reach the 4th level, for which the 1st level should be from school.
Exactly. So that's, I think, yet another perfect response from you, sir, because I think a lot of the parents and even the students themselves, they look at the immediate gratification that they get. They're thinking, okay, if I do the session tomorrow, will I be able to go deliver a speech in front of 10,000 people the very next day? That is slightly unrealistic. That might not even happen. For some students it might. But I think a point that you highlighted is that it's a process. You need to trust the process so that you are able to reap the benefits later on.
Yes, to stay in that process, you need mentors.
Exactly.
You need people to be in that. So that's the whole point.
Yeah.
You only get know-how and practice in your school, but you'll have to practice until you really see the benefit out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So another thing that I want to point out here is that out of the many students that I've talked to, especially of my age and of even lower age, in fact, I just talked to a person day before yesterday and he was just 13 years old and he wanted to start a business of his own. So I'm able to see a lot of entrepreneurial spirit among young students, and I think I have many examples from my own school too.
I think you yourself is an example.
Thank you.
From grade 12, you have started a wonderful business and you're doing a really good job signing MOUs with schools and putting yourself there. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, but so I talked to students who were just 9 years old, and he started a seed ball business to combat climate change and so much and so on and so forth. And I've seen that there is a lot of entrepreneurial spirit, and some parents want to actually, especially with the advent of social media, they're seeing all these leaders online, and they want their children to be somewhere close to them. And so, how do you think such skills translate, especially from your viewpoint as an IIM graduate as well as a business leader over here at Baranda IS? How do you think such soft skills that we develop in high school, they translate into their entrepreneurial spirit, or as well as when they go on to the real world and they try to get jobs, or they try to position themselves in top business positions? Because it's true, you need to trust the process, you need to ensure that the soft skills that you learn and the process is continued towards till the point that you finish college. But how well do you think it translates into it? Could you give me some anecdotes from your own personal experience in team leads, in Baranda IAS, Baranda Race, other organizations that you work with?
See, I very clearly told you in the corporate ladder, for that example, or you want to get into, see, you want to become an entrepreneur, simply you will have to have an idea, put that idea into a process and sell this idea to people to subscribe you or to buy your product.
Exactly.
Now for all these three processes, I think nothing of our school subjects comes into picture. Selling skills come, influencing skill comes, having a structured thinking comes, design thinking comes into picture, communication comes into picture, how well I can communicate my product to my customer. So all these skills are the actual skills of life, which is not been in our structured learning that we already have in schools. That's the whole reason why we have these sort of programs that is required for these students from the school. That's point number one. The next point is that, which I told you already, in a corporate ladder, maybe when you enter, your hard skill proportion is more than what is your soft skill proportion is. But if you want to get on the top of the ladder, it is exactly the reverse. Your soft skill needs to grow and be strong. Without that, you can never grow the ladder, irrespective of however good you are at your particular skill. Why is because you can have a person who is capable in that skill to work under you, but to extract work from that particular person, you need to be a leader, for which you should have a soft skill.
I understand completely. I think that's a perfect example, and how you have phrased it. No, it's not an easy job to extract work and to coordinate so many employees, because as you grow up the ladder, as you progress up the ladder, or even if you were to start a startup and they were to expand into more operations, say, let's take Baranda IS for that matter. We started with 10 to 20 employees, and we have now progressed to such a large stage that it's not easy to coordinate all of these logistics, all of these business operations, that you need to be able to delegate and assign work properly so that people are able to complete those processes and report back. That is a skill that takes a long time to develop, and I think I would personally think that developing these skills from high school onwards is a perfect...
You cannot, that's what I'm telling you, cannot learn this skills. See, I told 4 levels. I'm getting back to the first point that I told. There are 4 levels, right? So first you know the know-how, and then you get coached, then you get mentored, and then you make it as an attitude. You are expected to be at the attitudinal level in your work. For which you should start from level 1, right? And this is a very slow process, right? And this should be from the school. If you want your career to be really very, you will have to come out with really good flying colors, then you will have to do it from schools. No, it's okay, I'll come, learn, put efforts and do, then enjoy in your school and college time. Don't put efforts here, and then you will understand when you come inside the job. You will forever stay, you will have a great hard skill capability. You can be a wonderful coder. You can be a wonderful person who is able to pull out designs for marketing communication. These are all taught in schools and colleges. You can be amazing of it, but if you want to lead them all, if you want to move on the ladder up, these are very, 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 very important.
Yes, of course. I completely agree with you there as well. Now, firstly, I would like to thank you for being here. And I would like to end with one last question. So that what are your top advice? Let's say top 3 advice, or top 2, or how many of them that you have for all of these young students and their parents, of course, who are watching this video today, and about and just your general advice for them when it comes to co-curricular activities and academic activities, or even extracurricular activities for the matter. What are your top advices for them?
See, point number 1 is that academics alone is not the need of the are. You need to do things beyond academics. You call it co-curricular, you call it extracurricular, which builds the skill in you. So you will have to build this. Without that, you're not ready for the rat race. You cannot do that. That's the first thing. Now, first, know what is required. This is required. Point number 2, how important it is. See, this is very much important to start at the school level, is what I keep telling here, is because this requires time. This cannot come as in just with a day.
Yeah, exactly.
So this requires time, and if you really want to be good in your career and things at your early stages, you will have to start it from the school. That's the second point. Third important point is for parents and schools. If you want your alumni, for the schools, if you want your alumni to reach a civil service or reach a big thing, big corporate leaders or whatever, and come back after 10 days and stay as a motivation, and who becomes your ambassadors of your college name or school name, then you will have to allow them do these things now.
Okay.
And for parents, if you really want your kid to have a head start in career, not only in career, or stand out differently from the whole crowd that is there now, you will have to start these activities at school. Okay?
Yeah.
You don't do it through any of our programs, it is okay. But at least do it yourself at your home.
Yeah.
Start giving some responsibilities to your kids from the house. Ask them to go somewhere, negotiate something, buy something and come. Do it at your house level. Do it at your small activities in your house.
Yeah.
It need not be enrolling them into a course. Do these things. That's a different level. But I'm requesting the parents to do it from their house itself in small activities. Go to a shop, negotiate, buy and come. Do this one set of activity yourself. Arrange a birthday party to your brother, your sister. Take the complete thing. Here's the budget.
Exactly. So
go do that.
All of these skills build the things that they would require for the future, whether it's operations, logistics, or
everything comes into picture.
Everything comes into picture. So I think that's a perfect example, and that's something that I think everybody should start doing.
Definitely.
For being a better leader tomorrow. So that concludes this interview. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Vyas. Thank you, Vyas. It was wonderful discussing with you. Thank you so much.